The 2022 NBA season is about a quarter in, and today I want to talk about potential death lineups. Anyway, guys, let's get down to business. First of all, before I get into analyzing potential death lineups and other lineups that could be used, there are certain assumptions that I'm going to make here. First off, the big one is that Clay is going to be Clay when he returns.
If he ever wanted to because of his ball handling ability.
Here's Thompson for three. Thompson, who has had a terrific night, 33 points, a long three for
rush it. Hey, Thompson, little pump fake, little step back jumper, good!
On offense, once he gets about a month or two in and regains his rhythm, I expect him to be about 90% of what he was back in 2019. And then on the defensive end of the court, because of his two leg injuries, I don't expect him to be the all-NBA defender that he once was, but at the same time, I do feel that he'll be an above-average defender as a result of knowing all the different defensive angles and positioning, and of course, he still has that size and length. And then my other assumption is that James Wiseman is going to have that big year 2 growth.
He's just getting to the open spot. And the pass right to Wiseman. Pick and roll defense with them. That is a big lob that a big kid just caught. Warriors got back. Draymond setting up. Wiseman again.
Last season, we've seen flashes of greatness from Wiseman, but more often than not, because of his inexperience and lack of muscles, he was more of a liability than an asset when he was on the floor. But since then, he's been training heavily with Dejan Milojevic, who changed 2 second-round draft picks into starting centers, and in the case of Nikola Jokic, an MVP who is putting up an insane PER stats. In addition, over the offseason, he's put on about another 10 pounds of muscles and is about 250 pounds now. Now, he ain't about to start averaging like 30 points a game, but I do expect him to do about 15 and 10 efficiently and to also play good defense against other bigs in the league. Now that we have these two assumptions out of the way, let's get down to the potential lineups the Warriors can use to dominate, especially during the playoffs. First off, let's start with the death lineup. For this 5-man lineup, I got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and James Wiseman. For the season so far, both Curry and Wiggins are averaging over 40% from three-point range, and with Klay in the mix, that'll be 3 elite shooters from distance. With all the split action going on, with all the off-ball screens and movement, there will be almost always someone that'll be left open for an open 3 or a backdoor cut. Here's a quick example. Here's Steph. He's about to use the Draymond screen to switch defenders.
Did the Dubs. Steph and Draymond.
Next, he gives the ball to Wiggins and then almost simultaneously sets up a screen for Wiggins.
Draymond again.
Both defenders stick with Curry, and that leaves Wiggins a wide open shot.
Wiggins on a reload 3.
Whether it's Curry, Wiggins, or Klay, opportunities for good looks will be there for the taking. Next off, you have James Wiseman. For every time Curry or anyone else blows by their initial defender and makes a play towards the basket, if the opposing big helps out even a little, it'll be an automatic lob for Wiseman. Here's an example from last season. Here's Curry with the ball on the perimeter. His defender is playing him too tightly because of Curry's lethal shooting ability, so Curry instantly dribbles past him.
Oh, Curry was going to pull back.
Now, as we can see, LaMarcus Aldridge here has to help out, and as a result, this happens.
Flip to Wiseman!
Oh my goodness, guys. This guy has to hurry and come back. We got to see how he looks now, especially after all that offseason training. Anyway, last off we have Draymond Green, who can not only anchor the defense, but he does have a bit of everything, which includes playmaking and scoring. For the season, he's averaging about 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. With 3 elite shooters on the floor and a lob threat waiting by the rim, Draymond will have all the opportunities he needs to make crafty plays towards the basket.
Good position. Oh, Draymond turned the corner.
Next off here, guys, I want to talk about another potential lineup the Warriors can use. This lineup might not be as explosive on the offensive end of the court as the death lineup mentioned earlier, but it might just be the most suffocating defensive lineup in modern NBA history. Alright, imagine this lineup here. Gary Payton II, Draymond Green, James Wiseman, Kuminga, and Wiggins. Here's a quick sneak peek of what it'll look like.
That's the thing. He's been in the G League. Talk about the importance of that.
Hero ball down the stretch, and that doesn't work out either. Carl Anthony taps to the clock at 7. No foul. Layman inside. Wiseman sends
personal reasons, and Nick Claxton not available tonight.
Off of those drives.
Sheesh, guys. If Steve Kerr uses this lineup, it's going to be a block party, and it'll get the whole Chase Center up and roaring. I mean, first off, you can't dribble safely when GP2 is guarding. And if they switch off of him, it'll be Draymond, Kuminga, or Wiggins, and then this will happen. In this play here, Payne uses the Ayton screen to switch onto Draymond. Payne obviously thinks he can take Draymond off the dribble, but he didn't get the memo and
And the future's awfully bright for you, young man. But this is what he wants to do.
Look where that switch got him, onto the ground and probably feeling a little bit embarrassed. Anyway, if you somehow make it past your initial defender, you have a 7-foot Wiseman with a max vertical of over 12 feet waiting for you at the rim. Oh my goodness, guys. You know, just for fun, Steve Kerr should really employ this lineup to just clamp down other teams and suck all the life from them. Anyway, moving on here, if the Warriors were ever in need of a lineup that can shoot the lights out, Coach Kerr could insert Steph, Clay, Otto Porter, Nemanja, and Poole. Then if he ever wanted to just rest all of his 5 starters for a bit, any of these 2 lineups should be able to deal with other benches in the league. When the playoffs come around, although Moody is a part of the future because of his inexperience in the Warriors system, I don't think he'll be part of any meaningful rotations. Kuminga, on the other hand, is a freak athlete, and his development over this regular season will determine his minutes. Anyway, this 2022 Warriors squad is just deep. It's probably the deepest team in the league this season by a wide margin. I mean, they could go 12, 13, or maybe even 14 deep. Let's move on here and see how the Warriors would fare once the playoffs start. In fact, if there was no play-in tournament and if the playoffs started today, this would be the matchups in the West. The Warriors would face the Nuggets in the first round, and no matter how I look at it, with 2 of the Nuggets' max contract players out due to injuries, the Warriors would sweep them 4-0. The Suns would go up against the 7th seed Mavericks and would probably beat them 4-2. Luka Doncic may be out of shape now and playing below his standards, but come playoff time, I expect the young bird to be able to will his team to at least 2 wins. The Lakers, if healthy, would beat the 3rd seeded Jazz 4-2. I won't bet against the King to go out again in the first round. Ja Morant and the Grizzlies would probably beat the quiet-less Clippers in 7 games. Next off is the Western Conference semifinals. I see the Warriors giving the Grizzlies a gentleman's sweep of 4-1. Dillon Brooks could guard Steph all he wants, but Clay will be back and that'll be that. I see the Lakers beating the Suns 4-2 because although the Lakers are playing subpar basketball right now, I believe they'll be a lot better once the regular season concludes, and for all my years of watching basketball, LeBron James is a different beast when it comes to the postseason. Next off comes the Western Conference Finals, another showdown between Steph Curry and LeBron James. Man, this would be a matchup for the ages, and with how many Hall of Famers? In any case, even with the big 3 of LeBron James, Westbrook, and Anthony Davis, I don't think the Lakers will have enough to keep up with both the offense and the defense of the Warriors. LeBron and the Lakers will be gentlemen swept by the Warriors 4-1. Next off comes the 2022 NBA Finals. I predict the Eastern Conference will be represented by either the Nets, the Bucks, or the Bulls. Miami looked good to start the year, but they've been breaking apart recently. The 76ers, on the other hand, unless they can pull off some insane deal for Ben Simmons, are going nowhere fast, and with regards to the Atlanta Hawks, I don't think they're quite there just yet. But whether it's the Nets, the Bucks, or the Bulls, I see it going 4-1 for the Warriors, or perhaps 4-2 at the very most. If fully healthy, I just think the lineups the Warriors can produce is just too much for any teams to handle. Anyway, guys, moving on here. We all know that Gary Payton II is a defensive beast and one of the biggest surprises of the season for the Warriors. But did y'all know that just a little while ago, no teams wanted him, and if you go back even further, he almost quit playing basketball? Yeah, I'm not even kidding, and I don't want to spoil it here for you. So just click this video right here where I go over the whole story of the young glove and his inspirational journey to the NBA. If there's any video you don't want to miss, it's this one right here. So go ahead, click it, watch it, and like always, I'll be on the other side.